Hello my friends, welcome to my channel Discover with Kim. I am Kim. I'm so excited you're here with me today. Welcome to this week's book vlog. This week we are going to be picking out my May TBR. So let's get into it. So in April I didn't read as many books as I wanted to because I was in a bit of a book slump, and then we adopted Rambo, our brand new kitten. So I definitely didn't read as many books as I wanted to, but with that being said, I do not want to pick too many books for May, just in the case that I may not read them. So I think that I'm going to be picking 6 books for May because when I have a typical reading month, I tend to get through about 6 books, so I figured that would be the perfect amount to pick. I do want to note though that my birthday is coming up in literally a couple of days, and I have a feeling I'm going to be getting a good handful of books for my birthday, so my May TBR may honestly be completely changing once my birthday hits. But for now I'm going to be picking from the books that I have and all the books I'm excited to read, so that is the plan. Now, I do not have any kind of prompts, no TBR jar, no kind of random number calculator, nothing like that to pick my books. I am very much a mood reader, so leaving it that much up to chance, I'm not really sure if that would work for me. I'll probably try it sometime in the future, but for now, I really need to be picking books that it feels like I'm in the mood for. I can't really leave it up to that much chance because I know as a mood reader, I won't read them, and there's a chance that just picking the wrong books will make me not want to read at all. So I am not going to do that. So I plan on picking my books based on getting different genres, and then just based on how excited I am to read them and maybe feel the best, or that I just kind of am like, yes, that's the book, because that's how I'm gonna know like those are the books that are gonna tempt me to read them this upcoming month. So let's get right into it. So right next to me here, I have a shelf that has a huge chunk of all of my newer books. These are all unread books. I do have a lot of other unread books over here, but for this video and for my May TBR, we're going to be picking off of this shelf. So this is basically my TBR shelf. The top is a lot of romances, and there's a little bit of other mixed in, but mostly they're romances. The second shelf is mostly fantasy books. In the back, there's the entire Throne of Glass series and the entire Hunger Games series. So those are definitely filling up a lot of this shelf, but these are all fantasy books. And then this bottom shelf is mostly thriller books, as well as some random books that I'm not sure exactly where to classify them, but that is where we're at. These random books up here that I'm sure you guys can kind of see, those are my April TBR that I have not read, so you can see how that went. But hey, it is what it is. I'm excited to pick my May TBR, and I think this month I'm going to stick a little bit closer to it. At least I hope I am. So let's see how that goes. So what I think will be kind of fun is I'm going to start at the top shelf, which is mostly romances, and then work my way down. So I'll pick a romance book, pick a fantasy book, then I'll pick a thriller book. So we'll do those 3 first, and then I'll see what I have, and then we'll kind of decide what other 3 types of books we want to read. So I'll probably pick one that's like none of those genres, so something like completely different, maybe something historical, or maybe a nonfiction book, maybe like a literary fiction or something like that. But yeah, and I'll happily pick, I'm not sure what the last 2 are going to be. We're just going to do it as we go. So let's do it as we go. Okay, so first off, we're going to do the romance shelf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of look through it and see what I have. This is not romance. So I have some L. Kennedy books here that I could read. I'm in the middle of this series, so I could pick one of those, keep the series going. I don't want to read too many of my summary books yet, so like these are really summary. I think I should save these maybe for June, right? Because that's more summary. Like May's not that summary yet. So like, I feel like these ones are both very summary. Passion Project seems kind of summary. Summer in the City seems pretty summary, so I feel like I should maybe leave some of those for like May. I mean for June, July, that kind of stuff, to actually read them in the summer. Man, this is harder than I thought it'd be. I honestly thought my romance novel was going to be like the easiest one to pick. I have the first of like the Kings of Sins series. I have the first 3 here. Truly, Madly, Deeply. I have Truth or Beard. I have the Playboy. I don't know. None of these are really speaking to me. That's so sad. I have so many good books. I mean, like, I'm sure they're good books just sitting here, and I'm just like, none of them are speaking to me. Maybe this one. I'll be honest. This is kind of the only one that's really doing it for me right now. I will say I did just finish a romance novel that, like, I kind of had to slog through the end, so I think that might be part of it, is that I'm just a little bit, like, burnt out of romance novels. But I think that, yep, I'm gonna go with this one. So we have our first book from my May TBR. It is Truth or Beard by Penny Reed. So I think that these books actually came out a while ago, perhaps in ebooks, and now they're finally being published in print. From what I remember when I bought this book, I think that's what they told me. But it has these beautiful red edges, And then it has this really cute like plaid design on the front. So I'll give you just a quick little synopsis. So the top says, falling for the wrong twin never felt so good. Identical twins Boo and Dwayne Winston might share the same devastating handsome face, but where Boo is outgoing and sociable, Dwayne is broody and reserved. That's why perpetually level-headed Jessica James has been in naive and unhealthy infatuation with Boo for most of her life, while Dwayne and Jessica have always been adversaries. She can't stand him, and she's pretty sure he can't bear the sight of her. But after a case of mistaken identity, Jessica finds herself in the middle of a massive confusion kerfuffle. She spent her whole life paralyzed by the fantasy of Boo and her assumptions of Dwayne's disdain. So now that she knows she's been wrong all along, she's unprepared for the reality that is Dwayne's insatiable interests, hot looks, and hot hands, and even hotter kisses. She always thought she knew her own mind, but as Jessica finds herself drawn to the man who's been her sworn adversary for years, how much of her heart is she willing to risk? And then at the bottom it says, a very bearded, illustrated bonus. The special deluxe edition contains character art, a map of Green Valley, bonus scenes, and more. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Oh, that's cute. So there's art like... Is it throughout the whole thing or just... Okay, yeah. So I just pressed another one. I'm not going to go back because let's be honest. Look! How cute! There's just random pictures throughout the book. That's precious. It's a nice little family photo in the front. So this is like the first in the Winston Brothers series or something. The Bearded Men series, I have a feeling it's called. I'm not sure what it's called. But... it looks cute. Oh, okay. This is a Winston Brothers series. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 2 little halves. So like 7 to 9 books by them. But yeah, it's so cute. Honestly, I'm kind of excited for this one. I feel like it's going to be hopefully more of like a light romance. I like that it's like 2 brothers and then she's confused about which one she actually likes. I like that it's like long time childhood growing up together and now turning into romance. That sounds like fun. I like that it's like sounds like it's enemies to lover. That sounds like fun. So I'm kind of really curious and this one sounds really good. So my first May TBR is my romance novel, Truth or Beard. Next up, we're gonna look at the fantasy shelf. This one's gonna be the hardest for me to pick. Let's be honest. It's gonna be between these two. Honestly, I want to read every single one of these books. I really, really do. I very much want to read every single one of these books. But there's 2 books that have been staring at me since I got them. And that is Nightweaver by R.M. Gray and Firebird by Juliet Cross. This one is about dragons. It's a romantasy. This one is about pirates. Oh, I want to read them both. Shoot, I want to read them both. They both have these beautiful stenciled edges. Like, that's upside down. How about that? They're so pretty. Okay. Okay. We're gonna go with Firebird because I'm just slightly more excited to read that one, to be honest. That's the only reason. So I'm gonna put Nightweaver back for now. But yeah. So we're gonna go with Firebird. As my second May TBR, my romantasy fantasy read is Firebird by Juliet Cross. This is The Fire That Binds, book 1. So it looks like it's going to be part of a series. This one did just come out in April, so the next one's not out yet. It says, it is said that no one can defeat dragons. So, hello. Okay, so there's a little back, and then there's a little, like, inside synopsis. So, I'm not going to read you the whole inside synopsis, but it does say, a conqueror captivated, a witch prophesies to save them all, a world where dragons rule Rome. Okay, so that's what it's about. And then the back says, his movements were fluid, lithe, a hunter's steady progress toward the awaiting prey. His face was steeped in shadow till he passed a torch. I sucked in a staccato breath. His face was too hard, too sharp, too arresting. His maker had cut him with an unforgiving blade, molding him into a beast of unquestionable dominance and terrible beauty. He stood off to the side of the front row, his dark gaze sweeping the audience, the gusting torch flame licking along his features, caressing into the shadows like a lover. Then it happened. Flickering flame caught the golden deep of his irises, touching the supernatural doors to his soul, if he had one. I exhaled the breath I'd been holding, knowing I looked upon the beast of legend, the one who filled our people with fiery nightmares, who stormed across the world and took whatever and whoever he wanted. Dragon, I whispered. Okay, yep, book 2, May TBR, Firebird. I'm excited. Okay, next up is my thriller shelf. So down here, I have a whole bunch of thriller books. I have Riley Sager books. I have, honestly, just so many different ones. I have a Lisa Jewell book. I have a bunch of different ones. Oh, I just found some beautiful stickers. They're not supposed to be right here. Oh. So I'm thinking it's between Riley Sager, Middle of the Night, and You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. So this one is about, I believe it came out last year. It does not tell me. I mean, I know the copyright will tell me, obviously. Copyright 2024. Perfect. So it's about a guy who, when he was younger, he was sleeping in the backyard with his best friend, and when he woke up, his best friend was gone out of the tent. And then 30 years later, he returns to his home, and there's more mystery going on. So this one sounds kind of summery. I'm thinking this one might be more summery. I think I'm gonna go with this one. So this one, hold on. So this one is called You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. This is a thriller. It is about a woman who lives in New York. She's looking for escape from her life, so she books an Airbnb on a ranch in Wyoming. When she gets to Wyoming, she's pleased that the owner is a handsome man named Calvin, and he's eager to introduce her to his life. Things are going great for a while, except that there's no cell phone service, a woman is missing, and a feeling that something isn't right is around the ranch. So, despite the uneasiness Grace is feeling, she still bonds with Calvin, and she starts to have a good time, but as her departure date nears, things are kind of changing for the worse, and what seems like a playful romance starts to turn into a whole bunch of lies, and Grace isn't really sure she knows much about Calvin, and Calvin fears that Grace is hiding something from him. So, who really knows? But it says vacation flings typically end in heartbreak, but for Grace and Calvin, it'll be far more destructive. That sounds interesting. Okay. It's not going to make me want to go to Airbnb at all this summer, but I think that'll be a fun thriller read for May. So that is my third May book for my TBR. You Shouldn't Have Come Here. Okay, so we got the first 3 books done. We got the romance, Truth or Beard. We got the fantasy, Firebird. And then we got our thriller, You Shouldn't Have Come Here. Next up, I'm going to do a historical fiction book because I've been thinking about it and I've decided I want to. And I know exactly what book that's going to be. I'm maybe cheating a little bit because I thought about the book and I was like, I'm going to add it to my TBR. So we're going to make a category for it. Historical fiction. And that is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. My partner just came home last week with this special 10th edition anniversary copy. And it has these beautiful stenciled edges, and I'm so excited about it. So I'm like, yes, please. It is set in Paris during World War II, and it's about the women who are part of the war. And it tells the stories of 2 sisters and everything that they dealt with. And I think it's going to be so interesting. Honestly, my grandma was alive during World War II, so I think that'll be so fun. But yeah, that is my 4th book for my May TBR, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Historical fiction. Okay, so I only need 2 more books for my May TBR. I'm not sure what genres to pick. I'm thinking I might do just like a literary fiction genre, and then perhaps a older book, a book that I've had for a while, a book that was published a while ago. That's what I think I'm going to do. My pups are yipping, but that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to do a book that is literary fiction, or what I think is literary fiction. Let's be honest, I'm not exactly sure literary fiction the genre is, because I feel like that genre also encompasses a bunch of other genres, but that's what we're going with. So I think I want to pick between 2 books. The Bookshop of Hidden Dreams by Karen Hawkins, or Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. I want to read this one, honestly. I'm so excited for this one. It's this beautiful, like, special edition version, and it's so pretty. The back says, "But what then? What had he really gained by all this trouble? What had he brought back from his long and weary journey?" And this is like a classic. Technically, this kind of falls into both categories, doesn't it? A book that was published a while ago, like an older book, and then a book. So 2019, this Book Depot edition was 2019. It doesn't tell me when it was originally published, but like this is just such a book I've never read before. And I'd very much like to. So I think that this is going to be my 5th book for my May TBR, Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. The final book I'm going to pick is either going to be an older book, like a book that I've had for a while. So this book I haven't had for a while, so this one doesn't really call that category. It is an older book that was published a while ago, but I haven't owned it for that long. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for a book that I've owned for a long time, which if you slide this way is going to be like this shelf and these shelves and even over there. I have a lot of books that I'm just so overwhelmed. I'm just so overwhelmed. Like, oh my goodness. This book is so fat. I would like to read it, but it's so fat. I mean, I already have like a women's book because that's like The Nightingale is like historical fiction, so it's like women's fiction. So like, I think I'll keep those as just those ones. And then, I don't know, none of these are really speaking to me. I might not pick any of these. You know what? I don't think I'm going to pick any of these. I think that I'm going to do a video in the future that's like reading books that I've owned for like so many years or something, or like reading, I don't know, something like that. But like none of these are really speaking to me right now, and I don't want to, well, maybe not. I mean, I still will do a reading books that I've owned for a long time. Like reading books that I've owned for more than 2 years or something. I like that. Reading books that I've owned for like more than 2 years or something like that. That would be a fun video, don't you guys think? Let me know what you think. But I will make a video for that. But I do think that, it's sticky from like the sticker. But I think that the final book that I'm picking for my May TBR is going to be Wild by Cheryl Strayed. So this is also a nonfiction, so it kind of falls into both categories, nonfiction and a book I've owned for a long time. And this is obviously, I feel like a lot of people know what Wild is about. It's about a woman who, in the wake of her mother's death, decides that she's going to go hike the Pacific Crest Trail, even though she's not a hiker. So it goes from the Mojave Desert through California to Oregon to Washington State, and she's going to do it alone. It's kind of about her journey, and I think this will be a really fun one, and I've always wanted to read it, so this kind of works out perfectly. It's not too fat. So I feel like that's not too like intimidating. Like City of Girls or The Starless Sea, I really want to read, but they're both so like thick that like I might not actually get to it if I add them to my TBR. So I think that I'm gonna do this, Wild, as my final May TBR pick. Yee! I'm so excited. So here they are, my May TBR. So in reverse order, this is what we just went. We have our book I've owned for a long time / nonfiction book, Wild by Cheryl Strayed. We have a book that is like literary fiction or like a, just like kind of like a random genre, and that is Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. We have a historical fiction / women's fiction, which is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. We have a thriller novel, which is You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. We have a romantasy / fantasy novel, which is Firebird by Juliet Cross. And we have our romance novel, which is Truth or Beard by Penny Reed. So I think that I have a good stack of books here and like a good variety of genres and stories I'm hoping to read in May. I'm pretty excited. I think this is a pretty good TBR. Like, it's so random. That's what I love about it. Like, it's so random, and I don't think that this is necessarily what I thought my TBR was going to look like, but I'm pretty excited for it. So, yay, my May TBR. Okay, my friends, let me know if you have read any of these books. I would love to hear your thoughts on them. No spoilers, please, but let me know your thoughts on them, and if you've read them, let me know if you're planning to read any of these books anytime in the near future. Like, are they on your TBR? Maybe not for May, but maybe just in general. And what are you guys planning to read for May? I'm so curious. Like, are you into the summer reads already? Are you into springy stuff still? Are you kind of just reading random miscellaneous stuff like I am? I'd love to hear it. All right, thank you guys so much for being here today. I had so much fun picking out my May TBR with you guys. I love making book videos, and I love picking out TBRs every single month. I think it's fun to just sit down and kind of look through my bookshelf and see everything that I have and pick out some books to read, especially when I pick out like a variety like this, because it really kind of challenges me to expand my reading every single month, and I think that's so much fun. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys have a great month of reading in May. I will be back next Tuesday with another book video. It will be my April reading wrap up versus my April TBR. I hope you guys have a great week. Live well, read some books, and go discover, my friends. Bye.